We all want to make webtoons, we all want to make comics, but can we make money doing it? The answer is yes, but it isn't easy. Hey, Walter here, doing what I can to make comics easier because it shouldn't be overwhelming or daunting to tell your story. I make videos about making comics. If that's something you're into, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So yes, you can make money with webtoons and webcomics. It isn't easy. There are a ton of ways to do it, and these are the ones that I know about. Be a Webtoon Original series, Webtoon ad revenue share, merchandise, Kickstarter, Patreon, conventions, Comixology, Amazon, or some other form of digital distribution, Gumroad, and finally commissions or freelance work. If you know of any other ways to make money doing comics, please be sure to let us know in the comments so that we can check it out. But let's go ahead and dive into these. Webtoon Original Series. You sign a contract with Webtoon for them to publish your original comic. They pay you money for every episode they publish. Payment is defined in your contracts, and contracts can change over time. When I did it, it was really good amount of money for comics, even better when you take into account that you retain full control of your IP. Now I can't say the exact amount, but I've heard numbers ranging anywhere from 600 up to 2,000 an episode. Whatever it is, I would say it's definitely over minimum wage, so totally worth it for creating your own idea. The second way to make money directly from your webtoon is ad revenue share, and you can get this with being an original comic or just being a canvas comic. Basically, Webtoon is giving you a piece of their advertising revenue. Just like Twitch and YouTube, there are ads on Webtoon, and you're gonna get a cut of that, but not anyone can do this. You need at least 1,000 subscribers and 40,000 page views a month. That is not easy to get, but it is not impossible. There are a ton of hungry readers on Webtoon just waiting to read your comic. So I'm not really sure what amount of money you're going to get from the ad revenue share. Obviously, the more views you get, the more you're gonna make. But I would say unless your comic is insanely popular, I wouldn't expect a huge amount of money from this. This doesn't have to be on Webtoon, by the way. You can do this with Tapas, or you could even launch your own website and set up your own ad revenue stuff with Google or AdWorks. It's gonna be a lot more work, and tons more work, but you do get all of the profits. Of course, you're gonna be spending more money to get all of that set up. Hey, interrupting your normally scheduled broadcast because I wanted to see what you thought about this time lapse versus just staring at my face for 10 minutes. Let me know in the comments, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. The next big source of income and a huge resource for indie creators is Kickstarter. If you don't know what Kickstarter is, it's a platform that allows backers to support projects and in turn get something cool for their support. For comics, this is usually a printed comic or a graphic novel, but you can also create merchandise like shirts, buttons, pins, stickers at the same time while you're running the Kickstarter for your book. Comic book Kickstarters can bring in anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000 to $200,000 for your project. There are even Kickstarter projects out there that have raised $1 million for a comic. Don't get too excited. Those comics have been around for years and have spent time building up their fan bases. Personally, I've raised over $70,000 on Kickstarter, plus I've been part of other projects that have raised an additional $54,000 combined. Remember, a lot of that money is being used to print and ship the physical comic books, so it's not $70,000 of profit. Actually, it could be zero profit. However, at the end of the Kickstarter, you're getting a stock of printed books or merchandise that you can sell online or at conventions. So it kind of becomes passive revenue in a way. So if you get 500 books out of your Kickstarter and you sell those for 20 bucks a piece, you now have $10,000 of profit, more or less. Similar to this is Patreon. It's a platform that allows you to create premium items or content for your biggest fans. Behind the scenes, additional artwork, tutorials, time lapses, access to your files, or maybe even physical stuff like original art or stickers. The bigger your fan base is, the more helpful Patreon is going to become, but I think you should launch one now, even if you don't have any fans, but you expect to have some fans in the future, and one day it's better to have it there waiting for them. Next up is merchandise. If your comic has a decent following, you can start selling t-shirts or mugs or skateboards or whatever. The margins here are usually pretty slim, especially if you're going to be using print on demand versus buying in bulk. There are a few places to do print on demand: Threadless, Redbubble, Comics Wellspring if you want to do comics. It's the internet. There's a lot of options out there. Just go searching. Speaking of books and merchandise, let's talk about conventions. Conventions, you can sell art, prints, commissions, and books. Conventions are super tough. It's 3 days of grinding, of selling, but they are a ton of fun because you get immersed into the world of comics and you get to talk to other creators, which is super energizing and inspiring. Now, if you take all the stuff that you made from the Kickstarter, you can sell those at conventions for 100% profit. Of course, you have to take into consideration your hotel expenses, your travel, and your table fees. Tables at conventions can cost anywhere from $100 to $500 or more. The Kickstarter to convention model is a very popular path for a lot of indie creators. Sometimes it doesn't make enough money to live off of, but it does allow you to make comics without losing any money, which is a great start versus losing money straight off the bat. Eventually, over time and a ton of hard work, you'll start making money from all the books that you've been creating. And also, conventions are a great way for advertising or bringing awareness to new readers, or even connecting with the readers that you already have. Of course, if you don't want to handle all of that self-publishing stuff, you can get a publisher to distribute your comic for you. This takes tons of work off of your plate, but it also takes a lot of money off of your plate. Your publisher is going to get a chunk of your money. The stores that they're being sold at are going to get a chunk of your money. This doesn't leave that much money for you anymore. If a comic sells for maybe $20, you may get $5 of that. And that's only after the publisher has paid themselves back for the money that they paid to get the books printed in the first place. You also want to make sure that you vet your publisher and read over your contract. Possibly get a lawyer would be a great idea. Look for other creators that they've published, reach out to those creators and ask them what they thought of that company. Also, feel free to ask that publisher what kind of business plans they have, like what they're doing behind the scenes. They may not want to share it with you, but it doesn't hurt to ask. If you find a more energetic or hungry publisher, they may try pitching your comic to film and animation studios, which would be a really nice way to make some money, but it is pretty rare, so don't count on that as part of your business plan. Of course, the opposite of this is just staying completely digital and using some sort of digital distribution platform like Comixology or Amazon Kindle or Gumroad. Basically, it's like having a printed graphic novel, except you don't have to print it and you don't have to store it and you don't have to ship it. Basically just like Webtoon, but in another place where people actually have to pay for it, which might make you ask why use Webtoon at all. And that's because it is an easy way to get readers because they will read your comic for free. And also Webtoon has a huge reader base already. There's already an audience there. Trying to get people to read your comic on Comixology and pay $1 or $5 is a lot harder. I'll also include sites like Etsy, Store Envy, or personal stores on Big Cartel, except this would be physical merchandise that you would have to get created from Kickstarter or with your own money, and then also have a place to store it and a way to ship this out to your customers. Speaking of Gumroad, you don't only have to use that for PDFs of your comic. That's a great place to sell any type of digital good, maybe special brushes you have, video tutorials, templates, time lapses, whatever you can think of. That's a good, easy way for you to make money off of that additional stuff you have. Finally, we have commissions or freelance. When you start getting more popular, you will start being approached by fans and other creators who want to pay you for art. Commissions can be a great way to make extra money, sometimes even more money than you're making from your comic. I know a lot of popular traditional pros say they make more money doing commissions than making comics. Popularity, of course, is going to affect the amount of money you can make with commissions. So you may make the same or more money from commissions as you do for a comic page, and commissions tend to be a lot easier than comic book pages to create. I know a lot of creators just do commissions now and said screw comics. It's all about where your passion lies. Where your passion lies? I don't know, one of those. Those are the basic places or ways that I know of making money from your comic. They are all tough and require a lot of work to build an audience. There is no quick get-rich scheme with comics. I wish there were. It's a ton of hard work and it takes a long time before you feel like you've made any progress towards making money. Really, the best way to make money while making comics is to keep a full-time job and just do comics with all of your free time. That's what I did. I woke up early before work, drew, came home from work, drew, hung out with the family, ate, drew, went to bed, and just did it all over again. I did this every day for 6 years before I was able to quit my job. I stopped playing video games, I stopped hanging out with my friends. I tried to spend less money and save more money so that it would be easier for me to live without a normal full-time job paycheck. Comics are a big sacrifice, but obviously I thought it was worth it, or I'm just kind of a knucklehead, or both. I talk about this in a lot more detail in my other video, so check that out if you want to know more. All right, so those are the ways that I know how to make money. Hopefully that was encouraging to let you know that there are ways to get money from making webcomics. They are not super apparent. They are not a traditional 9-to-5 working path, but they are there. You may have to do more than one of them. You may have to stack them. You may have to do all of them to make enough money to live, but you get to live doing what you want. And I think that's pretty awesome. And if you want to keep making comics easier, be sure to like, link, love, hug, and hit that sub button for more sweet, sweet goodness. Peace.